Is Lord Kroak bubbling up in Tides of Torment? Yes, we're discussing the provider of Bubbles of Doom, Lord Kroak. I needed to get a script turned into a video before I croak. Yes, well, let's leap right to it. Recruited by quest battle or starting with Gor-Rok. This is a proper legendary hero with 0 upkeep. On Ultra scale, he floats in at 6,802 health, armor 45, missile resistance 40%, spell resistance 25%, so he knows you want to snipe him and has taken countermeasures. Be wary of the fire weakness 25%. He's a little desiccated, a word I haven't heard much of since Dark Reign. Leadership is 100 and unbreakable. Speed 34 and charge speed 44 are technically considered ground speed. You will see him using melee attacks just to show him off without magic for a while, and he's not great at it. Melee attack 26. Each blow is magical attack if it lands. Attack interval 5 seconds is against a 4-second standard interval. Splash target size very large means most chariots are included 2, and max targets damaged by splash, regardless of disruption, is 5. Melee defense of 12 is one of the worst in the game period, and truly horrific for a character. He's not there to duel. Weapon strength 450 looks formidable, but split base 330 and armor piercing 120, a very low armor piercing ratio. Charge bonus is 4, in the sense of 1, 2, 3, 4, and mass is 2500. Considered a siege attacker, he causes fear, he can hide in forest, has Strider to not be slowed by such forests, and has the cold-blooded ability common to Lizardmen heroes. More leadership, less rampage, single target. In campaign, everything gets nuttier. Background trait, Spirit of the Venerable Lord Kroak, grants growth plus 20 local province, corruption minus 3 local province, leadership plus 5 for heroes, army, and all units thereof. Lord Kroak is both a training hero and a replenish troops hero when embedded, and both a stimulate growth and a boost income hero as map passes. Not even allowable until rank 10, Colossal Deliverance, Agent Action, messes up enemy cities. At rank 20, you can pick an additional pip, choice of 2, one reduces cooldown by 50%, the other replaces with Ultimate Deliverance. The main spell line features the deliverance of its spells, rather famous, and the wind-up is famous too, making this of limited utility in multiplayer. In campaign, these go from blob punishers to blob annihilators, more or less. 3 spells, these spells have 0 friendly damage. Since you can cast them by default, the pips are about making these lower cost. Also, no overcast at all. Version 1 is 7 wins, 15-second cooldown default, 1 pip for minus 1 wins, 2 pips for minus 2 wins. Radius 15 meters, damage 40, with 25% of this being armor piercing, guaranteed damage. 200 meter cast range. Long wind-up, remember, factor that into your cooldown math. Deliverance version 2 is 20 meters radius, 50 damage, of which 40% is armor piercing, making it a better choice for more seriously armored foes. Here it's 13 wins default, 1 pip for minus 2, 2 for minus 4 to the wins cost. Cooldown 20 seconds. Version 3 is 20 wins, 25 seconds cooldown. Here, damage is 60, with 50% of it being armor piercing, but the real star is that radius 25 meters feels a lot bigger. 1 pip for minus 3 wins, 2 for minus 6 wins. Immediately after, way before other casters would, he can get Greater Arcane Conduit, which is the 60% wins recharge, and plus 15% spell intensity passive. So, more damage. By picking the Roiling Skies passive, he can agree flyers. This is the Lore of Heavens passive. Likewise, Exorcism as a passive gives army-wide 15 seconds of immunity to psychology, plus 4 leadership, and magical attack, which is ridiculously good when you're spamming actual damage spells with no friendly fire, a tough ask for actual Lore of Light. Shield of Sapphire gives 9 seconds of plus 10% damage resistance, aka ward save, for friendlies map-wide, and again, since you want to cast anyway, these passives riding on a single cast is pretty insane. Supreme Shield of the Old Ones is unlocked at rank 1, but additional pips reduce the cooldown, 25% at 1, 50% at 2 pips, which would make it a total of 3 pips, technically. 120 second cooldown default, 150 meter range, 35 meters radius, self and allies would be plus 40% damage resistance / ward save. Good stuff and all. It is not a spell, so passives do not ride it. Available at rank 12, 1 pip for Greater Ward of the Old Ones, gives corruption -2 local province, and ward save plus 5% for Hero's Army full time. Eternal Guardian at rank 12 gives Kroak Encourage Aura Leadership plus 10, where 3 is the base value that this is added to, and Aura Size plus 50%. First Spawning at rank 12 gives Control plus 5 local province, and Research Rate plus 10 points, which is nice, you want this along the way. Irrepressible at rank 15 shaves off 5 turns of wound recovery time, and since he's legendary and immortal once roused from his eternal rest, this means instantly getting him back if wounded. At rank 8, Skulking on the right side is Telekinesis for plus 15% missile resistance, where he started at 40%. His topmost slime line starts at rank 4, Reserves of Eldritch Energy isn't limited to him. Minimum wins is plus 10, like Kotep's thing, so absolute minimum goes from 20 up to 30. Of course, you want more than that, but that's your floor. Rank 8, Becalming Cogitation, nerfs enemy wins reserve, -15 in local region, or until they hit their minimum. Rank 12, Arcane Convergence buffs his army's reserve by plus 20. The second one begins rank 4 with Unfathomable Presence for plus 800 barrier hit points, up from 0. Rank 12, the Harrowing Scrutiny gives Control plus 3 local province and makes Kroak cause terror. Rank 16, Transcendent Healing gives -1 to wound recovery time, well shouldn't matter long haul, and Old School Regeneration, which is both nice for keeping him topped off in battle and adds 20% more fire weakness. But if he has Scarbrand in his face, he's toast anyway. Rank 20, Higher State of Consciousness gives plus 50% to barrier replenishment. When it starts replenishing, there's a barrier delay that this doesn't affect. So of course this guy comes stocked to the gills with legendary items despite being an adult frog. Standard of the Sacred Serpent gives Control plus 3, Casualty Replenishment plus 3%, Hero's Army, gives the Lord in that army causes terror versus proper Chaos factions, Norska and Chaos Dwarfs. Glyph of Potek gives his Lord plus 5% ward save, gives Kroak plus 8 melee defense, which he desperately needs, and Kroak plus 18% weapon strength when fighting undead factions. Golden Death Mask gives melee defense plus 5, which he still badly needs, missile resistance plus 10%, which gets him to the 50% mark at rank 1, and the passive, no biggie, just enemies within 55 meters are -8 melee attack. That's a big deal, or at least a wide area deal. Amulet of Itza gives Kroak plus 30% spell resistance, where he started with 25%, and Winds of Magic Power Reserve plus 10 because why not? Ceremonial Mace of Malachite gives Kroak plus 10% weapon strength generally, and spell resistance plus 15% for his entire army, including Kroak himself. So how do we use the Spirit of the Venerable Lord Kroak? Fortunately, this is simple. You use him as spell artillery, furiously protect him, and try to get your army topped off with wins, get his shield and passives running as much as possible, and go to town. He only has 1 agent action and it's limited, so mainly for fun. He's basically there as a buff relic and 0 friendly fire, really long wind-up spell artillery, so blobs be gone. In melee he is absolutely as weakest, but can pitch in with repelling basic infantry and the like. Kroak alone will vanish in the blink of an eye, returning to his rest. Kroak with an army of Angry Saurus and a unit of Temple Guard to embed himself with is a nightmare to fight and finish off, and that's just how you want it. Nothing here helps deal with aggressive single entities in terms of his offensive output, but -8 melee attack in a 55-meter radius is ridiculous, and basically, if not for his spells, would make battles last so long that you'd call it quits early just for sanity's sake. While this is even more relevant for Gor-Rok, -8 melee attack with a bunch of relatively high damage, low defense infantry like red-crested skinks will make them appreciate it too. So he's not omnipotent, but he helps, and there's just no downside at all, except you can only get 1 of him. Just cover the other bases with other stuff. Kroak has no upkeep, so you can afford that Oracle now. Take care, and have fun delivering the pain! And in this case, having your bubble burst is a good thing.